Well, the tug-of-war between last year's MVP and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers continue. He's made it clear that he doesn't plan on returning to Green Bay this season. OTA's up and running for Green Bay, but no Rodgers in sight. Teams have been throwing their names in the hat, looking to trade for one of the GOATs of the game, but still no movement. A-Rod doubling down and telling ESPN the divorce is something that's been in the works for quite some time.
It's never been about, never been about the draft pick, picking Jordan. I love Jordan. He's a great kid. A lot of fun to work together. I love the coaching staff, love my teammates. Love the fan base in Green Bay. It's incredible 16 years. It's just kind of about a philosophy, and maybe forgetting that it is about the people that make the thing go. It's about character. It's about culture. It's about doing things the right way. And a lot of this was put in motion last year, and the wrench was just kind of thrown into it when I won MVP and played the way I played last year. So this is just kind of, I think, the spill out of all that. But look, man, it is about the people, and that's the most important thing. Green Bay has always been about the people, from Curly Lambeau being owner and founder, to the 60s with Lombardi and Bart Starr and all those incredible names, to the 90s teams with Coach Holmgren and Farvey and the Minister of Defense, to the run that we've been on. It's about the people.
Time now to break in. Jason La Canfora with more on this. And JOC, how much longer till the Packers realize that 12 is not playing there next year, at least doesn't want to, and they need to be ready to move on from him after 16 seniors in Green Bay there?
Yeah, I think this is going to take some time. Him skipping OTAs was inevitable. We've been telling you for a while now that he wasn't going to be there for quite some time, and nothing's changed with that. He's, in his own way, sort of confirmed that. And I don't know that there's any sort of next date to look at or to think is a deadline. Even the start of camp is fungible. I mean, how much work does this guy need in a camp? How much did he get last year? He had an MVP season. They had no preseason. They barely practiced. So I don't even know that that's any sort of hard deadline or, oh, boy, push comes to shove in July. Week 1? Okay, now we're talking. Now, will Mark Murphy and company make a realization that this isn't in their best interest and move this player before then? I don't know that anybody knows the answer to that either, but nothing he says on SportsCenter, especially when he's still sort of talking in circles and kind of dancing around issues, that's not going to get him the ultimate conclusion he wants right now. Down the line at some point, sure, but when he's talking about the people and philosophy, make no mistake, he's talking about the front office. He's referencing the lack of any sort of bedside manner in how they handled the decision to move up and draft his successor. No, it's not about Jordan Love. It's about the way they went about acquiring Jordan Love.
JLC, if we're looking at this, of course, this has been something that's been going on the past couple of months, and this is something, if you're looking at the team as a whole, you probably don't want to linger into the season, or at least into minicamp once we get closer to the season. When exactly can we kind of have this resolved between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers in your eyes, you think?
I mean, what I just said, I would not be looking and circling a date on the calendar and saying, well, it's got to happen by this time. It's got to happen by that time. They don't have any other options. Everybody's working on their PR points and their messaging. Trust me, if you gave them a truth serum, they do not have another quarterback on their roster that they would want to play a regular season football game with that roster right now. They just don't. That's a fact. Jordan Love's not ready. Blake Bortles is Blake Bortles. And this is a team that's accustomed to winning 12, 13 games and going deep into the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. So I don't think Mark Murphy is – they've made it clear with everything they've done behind the scenes and what they've said to try to rectify this. They don't want to go and see what's behind door number 2 and door number 3, because they got a pretty good idea it's not enough to even get them in the playoffs. We saw what happened a few years back when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. And they had to play the backup. It wasn't pretty. It wrecked their season. So, they'll use this time to give those reps to everybody else, especially Jordan Love, to try to coach them up and get them as ready as they can be. But I don't think this one really gets to be something where the Packers are seriously negotiating with other teams or marketing the player to other front offices, I just don't think that happens until deep in the summer if we get to that point.
Let's move from one Hall of Famer to another. You go from Aaron Rodgers to Julio Jones, saying yesterday on Fox Sports 1 that I'm out of there, talking about Atlanta. He requested a trade back in March. We heard stuff during the draft, teams looking possibly. They're asking for a first round. What's his situation there with the Falcons moving forward?
Yeah, this one, I mean, is what it is. They've been marketing this player aggressively for at least 6 weeks, and they went out publicly, and whatever camera crew showed up at their team facility on any given day, and you had members of that organization saying, well, we just have to consider this and something we have to look at. Obviously, their salary cap woes are well chronicled, and they don't want to pay this guy $15 million a year to catch footballs anymore. That's just the reality. He's known that for a while. So, I mean, him saying, I'd like to be dealt, I don't want to say it's inconsequential, but that die was already cast as part of this new regime that was brought in, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. They knew they were inheriting a team that had to get trim some payroll somehow, and it wasn't going to be the quarterback because the owner wanted the quarterback extended. So they played with the quarterback's contract. He's staying. Well, look at their roster. There's really only one other guy you can move after June 1st and get any kind of real cap savings from, and hopefully an asset too. It's not going to be a first-round pick. That's just frankly not happening. They don't have the leverage to make that happen. He played 9 games last year. He's been on the injury report quite a bit in recent years. We've had back-to-back historic drafts in terms of the wide receiver position. We're now into June. There's not a lot of owners who have $15 million laying around in a budget for the GM to say, yeah, just go spend it on this guy. That's not how it works, and it definitely usually doesn't work for a 32-year-old wide receiver if someone does become available. So we saw DeAndre Hopkins get traded for a 2 last year. I think they're going to have a hard time beating that return. Maybe they do in the end because he's cheaper than Hopkins, but he's also older, and he wasn't as productive last year, and there's some injury concerns. So this is more of a salary dump than a football trade. If they're getting a 1, then they're eating $5 million or more of that salary, and they don't want to do that because that cuts into their cap savings.
Josie, your latest article, of course, breaks down 6 teams that possibly could be a landing spot for the future Hall of Famer. You mentioned, of course, the injuries. We got about a minute here. Looking at it, the Ravens, Niners, Patriots, Chargers, Titans, and Eagles. Give me a leader in the clubhouse that could possibly land number 11.
Yeah, I listed those particular teams because that's what the betting houses keep setting as the favorites. I don't believe 3 of those teams really make much sense. I don't see the Ravens doing it for numerous reasons. They just drafted 2 receivers in the top 4 rounds for the second time in 3 years and paid Sammy Watkins. The 49ers, sure. Kyle Shanahan connection. He likes to have a veteran wide receiver, an alpha. He doesn't necessarily have that right now. He's trying to win now. The Patriots, yes, it's a quintessential Patriots move. Bill Belichick, future Hall of Famer at the end of his career, getting him for below value. And I keep an eye on the Eagles because they're always aggressive.
All right, JLC, appreciate your time as always tapping in. Take care, my friend.
All right, it's going to do it for this hour. CBS Sports HQ. That's Brandon Baylor. I'm Tommy Tran. NBA is the topic of conversation we'll have next hour.
And also Will's vertical. That was a topic as well. Humbly 55-inch vertical. What?
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.